All right. Next portion will be, I believe, the motor installation. So we have, we'll move this aside, make some room. So it has a page about transmission setups. I'm running an ILGo drift motor, custom motor. I'm not going to go into that too much in this video. I'm going to be matching it up with a YGE 205 HVT. And I'll run the stock pinion for now. The KV on the motor, because that's important, is it is a 540 KV. So I'll get this baby installed shortly, and we'll get that going. Love my ILGo drift motors. You get, you know, a certificate of authenticity, basically saying that someone checked out your motor. You get your bullets as well as some screws, and the top button. I don't know what this is called, but it's basically a screw that goes on the top of the motor. Yeah, see the screw that could go on top of the motor here if you like, but there's no need, so I don't run it. All right, I will use the bullets. Let's get the motor plate. And this is saying that the motor wires go back like this, so we will bolt it together like that. And then put the sleeve, the third bearing block, motor mount support, what is it called? Yeah, third bearing support assembly. Okay, so put the pulley out, third bearing support out, get the brass sleeve for the smaller motor shaft, which I will have to use. And then we have the ESC mount here. All right, where's my 2.5 driver? The flat head cap screws. It's called for blue Loctite. I love that SAB supplies these screws for you, so you know it's gonna be the perfect screw you need to mount the motor and have it nice and flush, so you have nothing protruding out of the motor plate. So I do like that. I like when manufacturers or airframe manufacturers, pretty much give you everything you need to build the airframe. Obviously, besides electronics and motors and things like that and batteries, but all the hardware. When you get a nitro heli, you get the fuel line, you get the couplers, you get the the little what they call it, the little bungs, I guess, to cap the fuel line. Just little things like that. Definitely you can tell that a brand has put thought into the experience, and not just, obviously it matters how the helicopters fly, and they all fly great, but the build experience, right? The time it takes for you to, put this together, wrench on it, and make sure everything is good, and prep for that maiden flight. So it's really dope that company actually kind of, more or less cares to include all this stuff, and it's not like the kits are, how would I say it, more expensive, like the price difference between brands, but the quality and the experience that you get from an SAB kit is by far none like that, in the industry right now. There are some that are now trying to, get up to this bar, I'll say. It's a pretty high bar that SAB has set. And with that bar, you can kind of notice that what you get, for your money. It's quite a bit. It's not okay, when we're screwing this in, you want to make sure you get into that sleeve and you're not just on the sleeve. So easy way of doing it is actually to run it completely through, and you'll see that I'm in the hole of the brass sleeve, and I can back it out, get to that flat spot, and then what I do is I start rocking it back and forth. And also, the way I line this up initially is I give it basically a millimeter off of this plate for this, where the pulley actually starts, not where the little collet is, but where the actual pulley starts. So I want that, like, or I can just basically line up this pulley flat with this base, and that's where I'll start off, and then I'll adjust from there. So let's see if I can do it on the camera here. It's gonna be a little bit difficult, but so I want to just raise that up. Let's see if I can get it like flush. Okay. So that way, if this thing is flush here, right? It's hard to tell. Then we have about a millimeter ridge, and then we have the pulley, and that will gap the belt just below this, and hopefully it should be good. And then I'll adjust this, you know, once we get it on the helicopter, before this Loctite actually even sets. So let's get the excess off. Okay. And then we're gonna put the third bearing block support here. It's on like that. So looking at this, as it's probably gonna be too low. I feel like this is gonna have to come down a little bit more, but let's get this bearing block on first, and then we'll adjust before we get it on the heli. M3x8 screws here that use a 2.5mm driver. Get some blue Loctite on that, and we'll slide that down and get one of them started. Grab the other bolt. I'm not even showing this. Grab the other bolt, and then we'll drop it in the other side and screw that in as well. Snug them down. Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling that might be too high, so we're gonna adjust that, but we'll do that in a little bit. Next thing we're gonna do is finishing this off is to install this screw. And the screw goes on the furthest most hole, and it doesn't need to be Loctited because the screw does absolutely nothing, but I will Loctite it because I don't want it to vibe out or anything. Just a little dab, and then it's gonna go in here. So you use to adjust the motor. We got washers and 8mm nuts. We'll just hand tighten for now. Back in the day, SAB used to include springs that you would put in here to keep the washer up. So on the older, I guess, Black Thunder line, or before that, competition. No longer needed. Just put it in upside down and gravity will do it for you. So we'll get this ESC plate built up. We have your cross member bars here, and it looks like it uses an M3 bolt, which is a 2mm driver, and we'll line that up and get that screwed in as well. Okay. We'll do the other one. All right, here's the ESC plate. I'll get my ESC and see what that looks like. Get that on there, but for now, we're gonna get the motor mount on the helicopter. The motor on the helicopter with the belt. It's a thick Gates belt, nice. Looks good. Okay, the motor's gonna install this way with the belt riding like that. So right now you can see that the belt's, you know, there's still a good gap between the belt and the motor plate, but yeah, I might need to drop it a little bit more, seeing that there's so much gap here. I have a feeling they maybe dropped it. So let's give it a try and see what it looks like. Bring the airframe in. All right. So for now, let's just get this to slide into this. And like I said, just do it upside down. And it slides right in. Actually, that pulley might be in the perfect spot. Okay, now I want to put my belt upside down so that way it's the letters are right side up. If you're one of those folks that care about that stuff, I do like it that I can read it and it's not upside down, so I will put it the right way. Okay, and now once you have it in there with the belt on there, what you can do is just flip the whole helicopter around, still holding the motor, so then you can temporarily get one of these bolts in. Now I'm not going to Loctite it. What I'll do is I'll Loctite the other side, and then I'll come back and Loctite this one some. Okay. All right. So now I'm gonna pull on this and see how the tension's gonna be. See where the motor sits. The pulley. Take this bolt out. I'm gonna get some Loctite on it. Make sure we're good with that first. Put it back in. Okay. Now I'm gonna tighten up the motor. The motor belt. Give it some tension with this. Be careful not to scratch it like I did. Move it over here and then do the same thing. Basically put a little tension on it so that I could tension on the motor, belt, and tie it down. Okay. So I'm gonna spin the motor now the way it would spin to see how the belt sits. And actually, the belt is completely on, but it might actually be a tad too low. So you see that the belt is literally flush with the bottom pulley. So I actually want to raise this up a little. I'm going to loosen up the front two bolts again. Go back to setting that up again. So I'll put the belt back on. So on the bench like this, I will hold this and adjust it. So I actually need to go higher with the pulley. I think it's good. I'm going to tighten it on. Tighten that up. Make sure this side is tightened up.